Hey guys, listen, we've got a fragrance from the house of Montale. Y'all have been asking me, man. You always ask me, especially the fragrance we're going to talk about today. Yo, SB, have you tried Montale? Have you tried Montale? And so before today, my answer would have been no, but we're going to go into one of the more popular fragrances from the house of Montale and see if I can approve of it. And so you're going to want to grab a beverage and strap up. We're going to go on a ride.
Okay, doing it for two. I wish I had move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on top, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Today from the house of Montale, we have Arabians Tonka. Shout outs to Kel Smells for hooking this up. We did a decant swap. Sent him a bunch of Roja. He sent me a bunch of bangers from various houses, and that's what the community should be doing, looking out for each other. In the air, initial impressions on this is that I get a ton of vanilla. Oh. I mean, it smells like Instant Crush. Let me look. It's got a 4.24 out of 5 rating out of 6,200 votes. So it is creeping into mass appeal territory. I get a very candied experience, candied, expensive teenager, saffrony experience. What do they say this is like? Oh, Instant Crush. That's interesting. 560 votes that Instant Crush smells like it, but then 700 downvotes. I'm sorry, but I have Instant Crush, and I smell it quite often because I do Q&A on my stream on the channel a lot, and people always ask about Instant Crush. And I'm surprised it got 700 downvotes. That's utter ridiculousness. This smells exactly like Instant Crush. And it makes sense. It's the #1 voted fragrance that it reminds people of. Yeah, guys, I don't know which one came out first, Instant Crush or this. This came out in 2019. Let's see, Fragrantica, Instant Crush. They both came out in 2019, so maybe they were competing with each other. So what is Instant Crush? Instant Crush is this kind of vanilla, candied sugar, candied fruits, slightly spicy, slightly ambery experience. It's just a luxury candy, vanilla type of experience. It's even somewhat like Layton, but a lot brighter, a lot more ambery. It's just a very playful, it's playfully romantic and intoxicating. Sillage, projection, longevity, all that. It kind of has the performance burst like Kajal Lamar. And yeah, I've always liked Instant Crush. It's not my fragrance, you know, for a 36-year-old man, that would just be an overly playful sweet bomb. But it is at the boundary of how sweet I'm willing to go with a fragrance. I feel like on skin is really where it separates itself from Instant Crush. Not by much, though. It gets out of that candied Instant Crush profile on skin and goes more into a bit of the rose, I feel. It goes into more of a sweet vanillic rose amber type of vibe on skin. It loses a bit of that kind of sparkliness and goes into a smoother skin scent, but it's very projective, so don't hear skin scent and take that the wrong way. Top notes, saffron bergamot. Middle notes, oud, Bulgarian rose. This is not your typical oud and rose scent by any stretch of the imagination. It smells just like Instant Crush, and it is nothing like Atomic Rose, oud silk mood, oud satin mood. What are the other rose oud type of Taifa oud from Roja? Portrait of a Lady. It's none of those rose ouds. This is the most commercial rose oud I've come across. And it's not it's super hugged by about 50% of this tonka bean, sugar cane, amber, white there's not a lot of oak moss and white musk, to be honest. The bergamot's just giving lift. There's not like a distinct bergamot note. I get saffron, rose, tonka bean, sugar cane, and amber. This little, drawing it out for you guys, this little area right here. Bergamot's just there for lift. The oud just tints it to give it a little more dimension, but it's such a trace amount. It's not super musky, not super oak mossy, but it's very well balanced, guys. Let's go to the main screen here because I do want to wrap up and just give you guys some nuts and bolts information. This is Instant Crushy, and I think Instant Crush you can get as low as $70 for 120 ml. So the question becomes, so Arabian Tonka retails for $180 for 100 ml. What's Max Aroma pushing it for? So you can get it for as low as 100. So yeah, man, these must have been in competition with each other. Yeah, so if they're both sitting around the $100 price point, let me look for Instant Crush. I think you can get Instant Crush quite low. You can get it for 90 right now. And you get 120 ml as opposed to 100. So my honest opinion is that you should just get Instant Crush if you can get it around the $80, $90 price point, because you're going to get 20 ml more juice instantly. You're going to get all the performance, all the projection, all the sillage, virtually this exact same scent. These might only be different slightly on the dry down, but yeah, and they both have almost identical notes. You know, Mancera has saffron, bergamot, musk, vanilla, sandalwood, oak moss, rose. Yeah, so it's the same scent, guys. Come on, let's be real. So you're going to get 20 ml more juice for $10 to $20 cheaper comparatively to Arabians Tonka. I like Arabians Tonka. I think Instant Crush, for what it is a 9 out of 10, actually. For older gentlemen, I think they might call it an 8. You certainly can't go below an 8, though. It's definitely an above average scent. This is one of those like great blends. You don't get out like distinct notes and all that. It's glued together very nicely as kind of this just really unique, luxurious teeny bop profile. It feels like the sweet spot for this fragrance is like 18 to 30 is like the safe zone. Outside of that, it becomes more circumstantial as kind of like a really fun, I want to feel young again kind of fragrance. It's perfectly unisex in my opinion. And then let me just go through the usuals. I honestly, actually, let me say this. I honestly don't feel like you should get a clone of Instant Crush, because what you're going to lose a lot of times is the performance and the sillage. And it's such a simple scent profile, similar to Baccarat Rouge, that I feel you want to spend the extra money to get every little bit of dimension that thing can squeeze out to make it have the same feeling and vibe. There are a lot of Instant Crush clones out there, but I just don't think any of them are good, to be quite frank with you. The only other scent that is close to this is the latent profile to me. And there's a fragrance from Lalique called Lalique White and Black that you can get 100 mil for $25. I think that'll give you the same vibe as Instant Crush by about 80%, and you could save like $80. So if you're trying to be price conscious and give you the same vibe that Instant Crush provides, Lalique White and Black is going to be the only recommendation I can really go for, just looking at my collection right now. Yeah. And that's a designer fragrance. It's not a clone. Now, as far as Arabians Tonka, obviously any season, any reason, but I think it performs and projects best in colder weather. So fall, winter scent that you will want to make excuses for to wear. It is playfully upscale. So upscale, casual, and casual. I think this could be a great pool party scent, you know, hotel vibes, pool party, beach, anything in the water. barbecue day, like a cookout day or something like that. Um, Even to like hotel cocktail hour, and then just errand running, going to school. It's a cute little date night piece, if you're taking a girl out, if you're a teenager or 25 and down. Um, and it's just hard to find this scent profile. I always felt, and I'm going to keep this so real with you guys. I always felt like in the saffron vanilla experience, kind of Ambroxan, I think, I'm not sure. Um, I always felt like if men wanted to wear Baccarat Rouge, I always felt that Baccarat Rouge compared to Instant Crush is very similar profiles, but Baccarat goes more feminine. So if you want a more equally masculine as it is feminine take on the saffron vanilla DNA, Instant Crush should be the logical option because it's infinitely cheaper. You get 120 ml of juice, and there's no discussion about performance. Baccarat does last a long time, but there's so many different variations. It's more expensive. You could get Club de Nuit Untold, but I still think Instant Crush blows that one out of the water. Untold is the Baccarat clone. And I think it's even more expensive. No, I mean, Untold I think is about 40, $50. One of the more expensive Club de Nuits. But yeah, out of the Baccarat to Arabian Tonka and Instant Crush DNA battle, I feel like as men, leaning into Instant Crush is a little bit more masculine than wearing the Baccarat, which is more apparently unisex leaning feminine to me. And it has more ladylike qualities to the vibe. Whereas this is just Instant Crush. It's kind of like a playful, expensive crush. That's the vibe I get. Sprays on this. I mean, in my experiences wearing Arabian Tonka, which I have worn it next to Instant Crush, I get infinite performance, 10 hours plus. I think sprays, if you want to get 8 hours at least, you're going to go 4 or 5 sprays. If you want to be eternal about it, go 6 to 8. You'll be totally fine. It's got a moderate sillage. Like, it's not the loudest, bombastic, bright projection and sillage. It's kind of like a little bit above Smooth Criminal, like it's a loud criminal. And yeah, it's a really good fragrance. I think, again, it leans younger crowd, but I don't know. In my experience, I keep coming back to it, not as much to wear, but I just really appreciate the scent profile in it. I think the upgrade from this style, even though it's not entirely close, it's still kind of a luxury vanilla, is something like a Nishane Ani, compared to Arabians Tonka, because it's a more subdued vanilla. It's got other stuff going on with it that I feel like has a little bit more masculine, sexy behind it, rather than just like this lean on kind of a candied champagne vanilla type vibe. I feel like Ani gets a little more depth of concept, and for that reason comes off a bit more older, mature masculine, like 25 and up. So the progression from Arabians Tonka, if you want a more mature scent and you're going to spend that kind of money, is to just go up to Ani and call it a day. There are other choices, but I'm just kind of giving you guys some reference points. But Arabians Tonka is great. I think I give it a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. For people who aren't obsessed with vanilla unisex sparkling type of fragrances, fun fragrances, you might call it an 8. But to me and my flavor and what I'm going for, even though I wouldn't really wear a fragrance like this a lot, I just really appreciate the mass appeal of this fragrance and just the vibe that it gives. And so I do keep some Instant Crush in the tuck, and I think it's a 9 out of 10 fragrance. Certainly a banger. For most people under 30, they would call this a 10 out of 10 must-have fragrance in their collection. And yeah, if you want another like super upgrade from this sparkling vanilla style, go Oceania by Roja. It deviates by about 30% from this and goes more of a sparkling ocean water with fruits and florals type of vibe, but it still gives you that expensive, playful, and that would be like an extra elevation above Arabians Tonka. I know I'm using Instant Crush and Arabians Tonka interchangeably, but that's quite honestly because they are the same fragrance. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell so you can get the latest and greatest. We drop episodes every single day on this channel, and you want to be here if you're interested in fragrance. I'm just putting a camera to my journey, and anytime I find something valuable outside of reviews, inside of reviews, I'm going to drop it on here. So let me know if you guys have tried Arabians Tonka. Do you agree with me that it matches Instant Crush? If so, which one do you prefer? And yeah, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. This was a banger, though, for sure. 9 out of 10.